Lamar, happy New Year to you, man. How are you?
Happy New Year as well. Excited to be here.
Man, I'm excited that you had the time for us. I'll be honest with you, Lamar. When I first had the idea for this, the goal was to have real conversations, like for real people living real life. I've got an entrepreneur side to me. I've got a creative side to me, and I wanted to create a home for these type of conversations, to inspire people. Man, let people know what it really looks like out there. Of course, if you get the right person on your podcast, like, oh, look who he was talking to. But it's like, that's cool. But I want to talk to the best people. I want to talk to the real people. I want to talk to people like that. So having these
For
sides
sure.
to me, I was like, how do I bring this all in collectively? And well, Def Collective was born. Def Talks podcast is here, and we get to meet with amazing people like yourself. In the event people do not know, I got your social media pulled up here. Lamar Duffy. Watch how real business actually works. You built two businesses. First of all, Lamar, talk your talk, bro. Talk. I love it. You built two businesses from 0 to 1 million, and you exited one. Now that exit takes strategy. Like you were measuring 1,000 times before you made that cut. So there's a lot there. Now you're scaling. Now you're scaling your refer hero to 10 million, and you're not playing around. So we got some questions. We're gonna set you
Sure.
up perfectly here. But before we jump in, is there anything you would like to say to the people just to introduce yourself? I like to set the thunder up. I don't want to take the thunder from you. Is there any way you would like to say hello to the people and introduce yourself?
Well, first of all, just thank you for having me on the show. I'm excited to be here and share my story.
Yeah.
Um, I'd say that I've always been an entrepreneur or a serial entrepreneur.
Hmm.
Even since I was at a very young age, I had lots of side hustles or was like, starting businesses kind of in my free time to make extra money however I could.
Sure.
So I guess you could say that entrepreneurship has always been in my blood.
Yeah, yeah. And the thing is, not because you said so, but because you're actually doing it. Like this is awesome. When I imagine having certain conversations on the Def Talk podcast, I this is what I imagined. Like this is what I meant. I see the bells and whistles. Who are the people that I don't know that are knocking it out of the park? So, man, I want you to take these questions and have your way with them. Whatever way you want to take it, I'm going to support it properly, man. And I know if the viewers and the listeners listen and not just hear what we're talking about today, I strongly believe that they will be able to take what was said, apply it to their life if they're an aspiring entrepreneur, or maybe you spark something in them. This conversation does
Sure.
that. I believe they'll be able to actually see some healthy change and growth. So the setup for our first question: you've built some businesses, you're building right now, there's some special things happening in your life. Question number one, Lamar: what are you building right now, and why does it matter personally to you?
Well, currently I'm the owner and CEO of Referral Hero.
Yeah.
Um, and we build referral programs for service businesses.
Okay.
So you might be familiar with a refer a friend program where
Yeah,
like
sure.
you invite your friend to your dentist office or to
Mm-hmm.
maybe your wife goes to a med spa, and when she brings a friend or invites her friend, you both get $50. That
Yeah.
could be in the form of a cash payout or a gift card or a credit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we build software that pretty much automates that entire process. So we handle the tracking of customer to customer, patient to patient referrals, all
Sure.
of the reward distribution, and kind of all the notifications, analytics around it. Um, yeah.
Okay, keep going. Keep going.
So I guess why does that matter to me?
Sure.
Um, at its core, what we're doing is tracking word of mouth. And
Mm,
to me, um, word of mouth is the most powerful form of marketing. and it's one of the most underutilized marketing channels. Everyone, has kind of defaulted to, I'll just say, ad spend, for
Okay.
example, like,
Yeah.
because it's easy to throw up ads on Facebook or Google.
Sure.
Um, that being said, 82% of businesses say that word of mouth and referrals is their number one marketing channel. But we find that very few of them have any kind of tracking structure in place or incentivization model to compound the effect of word of mouth.
Yeah.
So I think it's one of the most underutilized marketing channels out there. And I think it is just the best form of marketing. So we are just kind of in line with compounding the effects of word of mouth that it has on businesses.
Yeah. I first of all, that is absolutely awesome, man, and I think you're just going to hammer these next set of questions. But I would definitely have to agree on word of mouth being the best form of marketing, and I've heard that, Lamar. I got a little sales background myself. Nothing crazy. I'm no Lamar, but what I've heard is facts tell and stories sell. And I believe why word of mouth is the best form of marketing is because not only did you get the facts, not only did you get the information, but there was a little story tied to it as well. I went over, to Lamar's, his 10th business and this and that, and the way that they handled it. Now I'm getting the information that you do X, Y, and Z, but now I'm hearing a personal story attached to it, and you found a way or created a way to actually stamp that and mint that and say, yeah, this is what's happening. And another thing I heard in there, and let me know if I'm wrong. Another thing I heard in there is when you said business owners are saying that their best form of marketing was word of mouth. And so it also sounds like you're giving them the data, the information to know that that is the best form. Like, it's actually showing them. They're not guessing where it's coming from. They're not, looking in the wrong direction or listening in the wrong direction. You're actually giving them the data that says, yeah, this is what's working for you. This is what's not.
Exactly. We start with implementing, um, you know, streamlined tracking,
Sure.
right? That's the best way to put it, is
Yeah.
we put analytics around what the current word of mouth impact is
Mm-hmm.
today.
Mm-hmm.
And then we layer on the incentivization process and structure that's like fully automated to just like compound that effect. Absolutely.
I love it, and I do want to put this out there. You don't have to share any IP, none of that. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
we could keep it there, but this is awesome, and I imagine that there was a time in your life uh, that you had this idea, that you had this thought process of, this is either my first initial or intentional vision or venture, and maybe this is my next one. And I'm sure that where you are now isn't where you were in the beginning. Like, this is not where we always were, and we grew and we learned a lot. I think is a perfect segue for question number two, which is, what decisions or shifts had the biggest impact on getting you to where you are today?
Yeah, well, if we're speaking about this specific business,
Okay.
um, I acquired Referral Hero about, or coming up on 5 years now,
Congratulations, man.
right? So it wasn't my initial idea. Now, since the acquisition, I've completely reinvented the product and have taken it in a completely new direction. But like, the brand of Referral Hero has been around for at least 10 years. And then
Okay.
I didn't take over or acquire it until about 5 years ago. Now, why did I do that? Um, I started really my first business kind of on my own that was able to support me about 11 years ago.
Okay.
And that was in the e-commerce space.
Got it.
So I was just simply importing products from China and selling them on Amazon,
Got it.
right? And I kind of just continued to do that over and over,
Wash,
and then
rinse, repeat.
until, yeah, exactly. Like, started with only $500, and just continued to reinvest the money that was made taking from Amazon and eventually scaled up like multiple brands and then sold them.
Okay.
During
Come,
that
come,
whole,
come
I can
on,
unpack
Lamar.
that whole story.
Come on, Lamar. Like, yeah.
But during that whole journey, um, and about a year or two before I exited the e-commerce Amazon space, I just kind of had this feeling that I wanted to get into software.
Okay.
So I started doing research and looking through various software companies with the goal of acquiring a company. And the main driver for that was just getting into the software space,
Mm-hmm.
and out of the e-commerce space.
Okay.
And two, um, I wanted to try acquiring a business versus starting a business from like
Scratch.
ground zero. Yeah,
Yeah.
from ground
Yeah.
zero. You know what I mean? So that's like kind of how, in a very quick summary, how I got involved with Referral Hero.
I absolutely love it, man. And here's the thing. Shout out to America's Best. If y'all want to sponsor, that's cool. The last time I got my prescription checked, they told me that it was fine and it was well. Like nothing's changed. They said my eyesight was good. What's my point there? Lamar, I know there is more to you than meets the eye. Like I know the real deal when I'm looking at it, when I'm hearing it, man.
Thank
And
you.
I want people to take an opportunity. I don't even know if this is something that you do. So no pressure, but I want people to get in touch with you, to contact you. Like if they have a dream or a goal or they just got some questions. I don't know if people can book calls with you or do whatever, but what I love is the sound application, like the sound facts. Like there's no bells and whistles here. Like this is the real thing, and anytime you can put somebody in front of someone and they can walk away with something that will measurably, like tangibly, they can see it change their life. I believe what it is you have mentally with your education and your experience. I believe that you are a wealth of knowledge is what I'm saying in a very long-winded way.
Well, I appreciate your kind comments for sure. Um, yeah, and I'd love to share my story with as many people as possible and help however I can.
For sure, for sure. With that said, if anything, if anything, what made people misunderstand most about you or your journey and the work that you do?
Um, I mean, I don't over in like exaggerate how hard it is. I guess, or I should say in a different way, is
Mm,
I truthfully speak about how hard this career path is as being an entrepreneur. Now, of course, I wouldn't do anything else. Like I am addicted to the challenge, and I like doing very hard things. I do think that this is the hardest path somebody can take, but it's also the most rewarding one. And I speak very openly about that. And I often, relate entrepreneurship to like a roller coaster ride. I mean, the roller coaster ride has very high highs and very low lows, and those lows can stretch many, many months. And
yeah.
actually, even this past year, I feel like I went through kind of the most stressful year of my journey to date,
Mm,
um, where just for like months on end, I was like extremely stressed.
sure.
And, and it was like, it was a foundational, like, moment in my journey. I learned a lot through that process, and I definitely came out stronger because of it. But it's not easy. So I'm always like trying to inspire and tell people like, yes, this, you should consider this, but it's also not for everybody,
Yeah.
because it is very hard and there's lots of uncertainty and you have a lot on the line, and you're supporting not just life, but like everybody who works for you and, all their
Mm.
salaries and their families.
Yeah,
So,
it's a real thing.
there's a lot that goes into it. It's not just what you see on social media or online with these overnight successes. That's far from the reality.
I, and this is why I know what I know. I know who I'm looking at. I know the real deal when we're talking to them. Now you don't have to. You don't have to. And this isn't a question on the list. But you say
Sure.
you went through some some stressful times and things like that. Me, working in the mental health field, uh, with what you're okay with sharing, with what you don't mind telling. Was there a certain way that you coped with that? Did you, just take a rest? Did you go on vacation? Did you, start to compartmentalize? Did you outsource? Like, how does a Lamar Duffy, a founder, a CEO, serial entrepreneur, how does one like you say, you know what? I noticed this is, becoming a little taxing. Let me become intentional and do X, Y, and Z. What does that look like for you in any way that you're okay with sharing that?
Yeah. Um, I try to get out of my head, I guess you could say, as much as possible.
Sure.
And what I mean by that is just like not overthink kind of the situation. Like you don't want to have like kind of your mind running,
Hmm.
because your mind can be your best or worst friend.
Sure.
So I'm constantly trying to clear my mind. I do have like different things that I do. Like I work out pretty much like every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love going into the sauna. I read a lot of kind of spiritual and self-help kind of books.
Sure.
Listen to podcasts on kind of the same topics. Um, so that definitely kind of helps clear my mind.
Hmm.
And then I also just have like a I'm very confident that like whatever situation is, I will get through it,
Yeah.
and like I will learn something from it. And like this current situation is supposed to happen for one reason or another because it's trying to teach me something,
Yeah.
whether that's like a good situation or a bad situation. So, in the case of like this past year, when sales are collapsing and I need to like let people
Mm.
go and I
Ah,
don't know how long it's going to last,
yeah.
things along those lines, I'm just like, well, when this is all over, it will be okay. And I'll be able
Yes.
to think back on this time and know that, I've made it through and I've come out stronger because of it. So, it's just an ongoing process, but
It
just
is.
try to stay out of your head and, keep moving forward because, the 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 track record is kind of the proof that like keeps you going.
I love it, man. It's these are the conversations. Like these are the real things. You're mentioning very key things that I hope people are listening to and not just hearing what you're saying, not just the things you see on social media, not just overnight success and the bells and whistles, but there are real things happening behind the camera, behind that have nothing to do with social media in the real world. Like how do you go and tell someone in your business or in the business, hey, I'm going to have to let you go. Now, how does that affect you? Well, you didn't let Sarah go, and now, well, you're making this, and then you deal with that, or maybe even you're looking at yourself, and you're like, man, did I make the right decision? Am I supposed all of
Sure.
these things not on that level, Lamar, but if someone because they are, we're recording this right now, but in the future people are already listening to this podcast and watching it. For that person who might be in that position right now, their things are a little stressful. Maybe it's as high as having to let someone go. Maybe it's, I'm stressing out because my business isn't doing as good as I thought it would. Is there any one thing like you would say to them, or just something you would tell them to keep in mind where they are in their journey?
Um, I would just say that they can handle it.
Yeah.
and that they need to kind of, like, this again is just kind of the part of the process. Like, this is what this is this is what being an entrepreneur is. It's
Mm.
testing you in these different environments and seeing if you can keep keep going.
Yes.
And maybe that presents an opportunity of, like, a pivot, or maybe it is just part of the process that you're on.
Process.
You do need to I have a quote wall in my office here, but
Give it
one
to
of the
us, man.
quotes says, it says, never lie to yourself about the reality of your business. you know so you've got to constantly be reflecting on yourself and looking at these inputs that you're being shown to
Yes.
help guide you in the direction that you're supposed to take. Again, whether that's a good event or a bad event.
No,
But
I love it, man. I love it. It reminds me of a friend that I had some time ago. Did well in his career. Worked in medicine. And he said many people are excited over like what they see him make, like financially. He said many people know what I make, but they don't know what it takes. And a lot of times, as you mentioned, we will see these things on social media. We will see these like, oh, I want that. Like, do you want that if you still knew what it came with, and not just what it came with, but what it required? A lot of times, we're looking at just the good things of business or the negative things of business, and we say, well, I want the good things, but I don't want the bad things. But there is no good and bad in business. It's just necessary. It's just the way it works. And I believe that understanding lessens pain. I go to the gym every day, Monday through Friday. I take my weekends. My weekends are mine. Monday through Friday religiously though. This and
sure.
Lamar, the split is amazing. Like we get in there, we move some weight around. But I was talking to someone I knew, and they mentioned, like, you just do this every day. Like, I've been doing this and I don't see any results or this or that. And I said, well, the problem for many people going into the gym is not accepting the fact that you're not looking for immediate results. Like, no one's going to the gym to get results now, today, next week. You might see a little
Sure.
cut or a little ripple in 38, maybe. But it is the understanding that I understand the process of this. I know what this takes. And I'm not going to the gym to get in shape. I'm going to the gym to create a lifestyle that will get me in shape. And when you put that in a distance and you know that instant gratification is not a part of it, it's very difficult to get let down. It's very difficult to be eating right and drinking right and sleeping right and daily exercise, and you don't see the scale change and you don't see your body change, and you're like, but I'm not in it for that. I'm in it for the lifestyle, and the lifestyle will bring me what I need. And I think if people have, Lamar, that type of understanding when it comes to entrepreneurship, that no, there's going to be ups, there's going to be downs. There's some times I'm going to be on cloud nine, some other times I'm going to be like, what the hell am I doing? Like, get me out of this thing. I believe
Definitely.
when there is understanding, it lessens the blows. Like, it gives you the ability to say, no, this is a part of it. This is the chapter we're in. This is what we're supposed to do. And it is not all the time how well we do a thing, but it is how consistent we do a thing. And
Exactly.
that part a lot of people miss. Lamar, you're an absolute gift, brother. You're really giving us some good stuff, and I'm excited. I'm excited about it. I'm excited about this next question because I know there's a story behind this. I know there's a story behind this, and I want you to have your way with this question of where you were, of where you are now, and kind of what it took to get there. So if you want to give us some backstory on how this started, the question is yours. But this is the question: who did you have to become for your goals, ideas, or vision to actually work?
Um That's a good question.
I got you, Lamar. Told you I'd take care of you.
Um, I think going off of your last comment, I would say that one of my biggest skills is relentlessly consistent.
Now, hold on, Lamar. Now, hold on, because you walking in my neck of the woods now. Those two words right there, relentlessly consistent. Please educate us.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that is who I or anybody has to become to achieve like great things,
Mm,
you know? And if we're talking about entrepreneurship or in the gym, right? I mean, to your previous example, it is just like showing up every single day
yes,
and not expecting the immediate gratification, you know, and not also and knowing or I mean and not knowing when any gratification will deliver, right? Which is the the hard part or like the scary part, you know? It's kind of
yes,
like
sir.
very foggy, but you just got to keep showing up and like putting in the work. And that work is going to be hard, just like it is in the gym,
Yes,
but it's just part of the process. So that's what I'd say. I and I've always like kind of had that, but I've really like pushed deeper and deeper into that with like routines and
yes,
having like a curated kind of workspace. And even if it's as simple as like making coffee, you know, at the same time every morning or whatever. Yeah, it's just like building these like tiny little kind of habits
yes, sir.
that then trickle over and have a huge impact, you know, later down the road.
Relentlessly consistent. I'm now we don't got that much time. But when you start dropping words like that, it is I phrase it in the way, if we didn't have mouths to speak and people didn't have ears to hear, what would our actions show people that we are? Like who would we be based on our actions? Because a lot of times we can curate the right picture. We can build our resume to say whatever it wants to say. We know exactly how to perform when we get in the interview. But now you're out on the floor. Now you're out on the field. Now you're in the office. Now
Sure.
you're in the cubicle. Now your actions are going to tell me way more and a lot more concisely than that resume, your social media, who your friends say that you are, all of these things. If you are relentlessly consistent, there is no possible way that failure can cope with consistency. Can't do it. Can't do it. You cannot defeat something or someone that just keeps on coming. That just keep like you're not going to stay down like okay, good.
Absolutely.
Have it. Be successful. Have the business. Set all of that. Now my last question, my favorite question, curated by yours truly.
Of
This is
course.
this is my baby, and you have given us backstory. You have given us examples. You have given us education, and what it looks like in the real world with the best people who are doing these things and making these things happen. If you had the attention of the entire world for 60 seconds, every language on the planet can understand you, every ear can hear you, every eye can see you. If you had the attention of the entire world for 60 seconds, what would Lamar Duffy tell the world?
Um, take risks, be kind, and just do it.
Listen, less has always been more.
Yeah.
Less has always been more, because you have a lot of people who say a lot and don't do a lot. And I call this, I like how concise you were with that. I call this the treadmill theory. A lot of moving, a lot of running. You might even start sweating. You might even lose a few pounds, but you look down and you've covered no ground. And there are many people who are going through the motions and it looks really, really good, but you're still in the same spot. You're still in the same space. So are you running to be seen, or are you running to make things happen? Are you running to cover ground? And Lamar Duffy, you have covered ground, and you continue to cover ground. And I believe it is because you are relentlessly consistent. You are a man of your word. You know exactly what it takes. Before we get out of here, is there anything about Lamar Duffy's life, the business owner, the founder, the CEO? I don't know if you're a family man. I don't know if you're the. Is there anything about your life, your story, that you would like to share with us before we get out of here?
Um, I would, um, I, I would say that there are so many different ways to like make a side hustle. And I
Yes.
do believe entrepreneurship is so empowering, and you can make, like, it doesn't need to be like you I talk to a lot of people that they get overwhelmed with kind of the grand vision of what they
Mm-hmm.
want to
Mm-hmm.
kind of, who they of course aspire to be, or like the massive business that they want to create.
Yes.
But the most important thing is just really getting started and getting validation from the market
Mm-hmm.
that you can get traction. And then once you see the traction start happening, it builds confidence,
Yes.
right? And a confident entrepreneur is a powerful entrepreneur. Okay. And
Yes.
being able to compound that confidence, and it builds a snowball effect.
Mm-hmm.
And at least with my journey, um, I've started, many different types of businesses,
Yeah.
and it's continued to evolve.
Mm.
So if you would have asked me like 10 years ago, would I have a software company now? I don't think that answer would be yes. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I view entrepreneurship as a constant evolution of both, me and my interests, and what type of business or form that takes. So I would just encourage people to get started and be flexible with what their idea is for what they want to create and how they want to display or develop that business into the real world, because it could take a number of different directions.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, just get out there and do it. Be kind, take
Yeah.
risks.
I love it. I love the fact that, and again, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe that I'm hearing, I don't have to have it all figured out right now. I don't have to have every single answer right now. I don't have to have all of my ducks. First of all, it is not even possible to have ducks in a row. You can put those ducks in a row and they are not staying there. And I believe that that's a great analogy and a great picture. Like, your ducks are going to always move. Every single time you get them in a row, they are going to always move. Uh, Sometimes we sit with people, Lamar, and there's a way to support them. Sometimes we sit with people, there's a way to engage with them. I'm not, I don't know if it's support or whatever, but is there a way and a reason for us to connect with you? Is there a program? Is there a website? Is there a tutorial? Is there a digital product? Is there a community? Or is it, no, just follow me and, see my journey and support? How do we connect with Lamar for our benefit?
Well, luckily I have a pretty unique name, Lamar Duffy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you could pretty much
Find them anywhere.
find me on every social media platform. Yeah, pretty easily. So you can find me on YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, wherever.
Yes.
I try to be as transparent with my process as possible. So I make posts about my own personal business updates with revenue figures and all, and I reflect on kind of like what happened over the past month or several months, just to kind of keep my community who's following me like
Yeah.
engaged with my own personal business. um, and then in addition, I also share like uh, business interesting businesses that I find out in the real world, and you can kind of think of them as like business playbooks or business breakdowns. So yeah, it would really help for, if you get value out of one of those, share it.
For
That
sure.
is like kind of like the best thing that I, yeah, would just appreciate people to do at this point. I don't have a formal course or community. I have built a course in the past when I was running my Amazon business,
Okay.
and that was very successful, both on a student outcome basis and as like a financial business for myself.
Sure.
But I don't have kind of any paid course or membership at the moment. It doesn't mean that I wouldn't and won't build one again in the
Yeah.
future, but like I'm just focused on building my software company at this point and providing value to the community, both on what I think is interesting and insight into how to build a software company.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely love it, man. I, I, I wasn't a fan of school, but I was always a fan of education.
Sure,
And
sure.
and I believe you have given us some education that we can actually take to the bank, man. I'm excited about it. I want the listeners, I want the viewers to follow you, Lamar Duffy. We're going to put it all in the captions, all in the bio, all the cool things. I'm excited for your time today, and hopefully this isn't the last time we get to sit together.
I'd love to be back on the show. Thanks,
Hey,
Elijah.
no problem at all, man.